is this prospect actually a prospect that we can close in the current state with their needs and what we can deliver on? If all of these boxes are ticked and they are just sitting on the fence, it's because they either don't know you well enough, they don't like you enough, they don't trust you, or there's something else going on, they haven't done it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Leadership Stack Podcast, the podcast for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs to increase your leadership, teamwork, and profits. This is your host, Sean C., aka Mr. CEO at 22.
We don't want everyone to like us, but we want everyone to know us. And it's knowing what we're doing. So if you're in a marketing strategy, you want everyone to see you. But if you're selling, you want to be talking to people that you can help.
Talking about pre-qualification, there are still those potential clients that slip through. They just slip through your process. They might be the wrong client, and you find yourself being lowballed. Like they want your stuff, they like you, they want to buy, but they're telling you that they just can't make the cut with your pricing, and they're asking you if you could lower it down for them. What would be, David, and I'm asking you, what would be your negotiation tactics? How do you negotiate when it comes to that?
So I think a lot of things depend on products. There's two mindsets here. If you are selling a car and you've got a $20,000 car, you bought it for $20,000, you're selling it for $25,000, and you sell a lot of cars. If they come in at $24,000, that's still $4,000 profit, right? So there's a mindset that works. But in most in service industries, I don't believe in it. Because actually you can take that car and put another car on the lot and turn that into more money. I value my product. Now I do offers out there, but my offers are done as a marketing technique to generate business. I don't lie about that. That's true. Like I'm cool with. I've got people out there that have paid, businesses have paid over £20,000 to have my service, and do you know what? They've done great from it because they've got a huge amount of people, and it's helped their guys do better. Would they have rather have paid $8,000? Of course they would. But that's what happens. We've all bought a coat before, and it was X amount reduced down, and we're well happy. Someone out there would pay full price. They're not walking around having a go at you for it. That's just life. But you have to know the value of your product. When we're talking about the exchange on a purchase, think about something you buy. Think about this. Imagine there's a car for $30,000. You want the car. You like the car. You have the money for the car. But you only see £30,000 worth of value. So there's a choice here. Keep the £30,000 in my bank, and I've got $30,000. Or exchange it for a £30,000 car that I like. Now, the problem being here is, as soon as you pick that car up, you're not going to be able to sell it on for $30,000. You'll sell it on for, say, $28,000. So say if I buy a car from you at $30,000 today and I can sell it on for £28,000 tomorrow, what I'm actually doing is exchanging £30,000 for $28,000. So the value has to be so high that it makes it worth exchanging the money for less. Does that make sense? A lot of people see buying a £30,000 car, but I've got $30,000 and I've given $30,000 for it. Look at it another way. I'm going to buy. Do you know what an AC Cobra is? An AC Cobra, made in the States, cool kit car. I love these cars. So if you're going to buy that at $30,000, that's a bargain because the value is likely to increase. So then the temptation to buy it is more because I'm still going to get to drive it. I love the car. I want the car, but the potential to make money is there. So that's more appealing to buy that car because you've got the potential of making more and you love it more. So the value's there. If you're going to swap it for something which you're going to devalue straight away, it's pointless. So my point being, when we're talking to people and we're trying to do it, some people just like to try and haggle on the price. That's what they like to do. Some people you can just laugh it off. Really? You can really, I say that, really? Okay, anyway, I had a guy before, he's like, oh, can I pay £50? No, you can't pay £50. Oh, well, I can't afford it. Okay, I can't help that. But if you can't afford, if you're telling me this is the price and you want to pay here and I don't like it, I'm in a position where that's fine with me. But that's because I don't need the business. I value every person that wants to start with me. but I have a pipeline that is big enough, but I don't need the business. If you are worried about whether you should take the business or lowering your prices because your pipeline isn't thick enough, you don't have enough people out there that want to work with you. So it's not a price problem. It's a prospect problem. Because imagine now, if you've got someone on the phone right now and they're like, hey, can I get this for X? And you're like, oh, if you've got someone else lined up that you can talk to straight away, no, listen, have a think about it, come back to me, let me know. But hello, buddy, yeah, listen, I've just had a guy on the phone, just to let you know, he was trying to lowball me on this. I know the value's there. Let's have a chat. Now, you can then follow up with that person. Now, do I teach people to train and go out that quick? No, of course not. But that's another option you've got. So if your pipeline is fat, you can have follow-up systems where you can not need to worry about that. Or you go into it and you break the sale down. And this is what I do a lot of people. If you're going in for the price and they're freaking out, that's because they don't see the value or they were just being a chancer. So you need to re-identify. Just because it looks like a cat doesn't mean it's a cat in sales. If you look at a normal cat in real life, it's a cat. But because someone looks like a prospect doesn't mean they are. There are people that walk into Bentley carriages every day, but are never going to own a Bentley. Doesn't even mean that they can't afford it. They could get the finance for it, but it doesn't mean they could afford the payments. Or it doesn't mean that their wife would let them, or their husband would let them. Or it could be the fact that they want to get a two-seater sports car, but they've got kids, so it's impractical, and they were never going to buy a second car because they've only got one space and got a little. See what I'm saying? So a prospect isn't always a prospect. Just because you can afford something. If I can afford a Ferrari, and I want a Ferrari, but I live in a densely populated city where I've only got one parking space, and I've got two kids, very hard for me to go and buy a Ferrari because I need a family car. See what I'm saying? And that's by not asking the right questions at the start. You ask some questions to find out if they're a prospect, and they are. But there's also a massive hurdle which you struggle to come up with, unless you're going to find them another parking space. But if you were smart with this and you ask great questions and you say to them, listen, where would you park this? Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. I've no idea. Right, well, what do you mean? Well, I live here and I've only got one space and I've got that. Okay, well, what about this? If I could find you somewhere to keep the Ferrari within half a mile of your house, because you're not going to drive every day, would that help? Oh my God, if you could do that, I'd do it right away. Well, right now, great. You go and find somewhere and you roll in a permit for it. You see what I'm saying? That's thinking outside the box. That's identifying the problem. Because they wanted the car. They have the money for the car. They want the Ferrari. They love the idea of the Ferrari. But not at the expense of not taking their kids to school.
Yep. Makes sense.
So it's having these strategies. So when people talk about value, we have to go back through, re-identify with, is this prospect actually a prospect that we can close in the current state with their needs and what we can deliver on? If all of these boxes are ticked and they are just sitting on the fence, it's because they either don't know you well enough, they don't like you enough, they don't trust you, or there's something else going on, they haven't done it. So the best thing to do is going through a series and steps which you can go through to isolate each objection. Imagine that you're trying to herd sheep down a corridor with loads of doors. You're ahead of the sheep and you shut one door. If you shut that door, it stops them going through it. So one door in a sale would be interest. Okay, listen, before we go any further, what I want to do is, I've gone down this road before and it's turned out that actually this wasn't a good fit for me. So let me ask you, out of 10, how interested are you in the product? Oh, I don't know, an 8. Okay, cool. What would take it to get to a 9? It would take blah, blah, blah. Cool, now you know where you are. Okay, cool. So how this would get implemented in your business, what would be the main problems if you did this in the business? Well, none, I love it. Okay, great. So we know that's coming. Okay, cool. Now, you said you're the only person who makes the decision. Is there anyone else out there that we need to consult? If you decided right now you're going to do this and you wanted to, like, literally, here's the pen, get started, is there anyone you need to call before the bank transfer would happen? Well, actually, I need to speak to the finance director. Okay, cool. That's great. I'm really glad. Now, what does he know about this? Oh, he knows about this. Okay, have you spoke about getting started? Yeah. Has he signed off on it? Well, he said he's going to, but he hasn't yet. He's away because he's got now we're there. So now we put a ring around. Now we go, no, you don't handle this now. Now we go through all our other sections. So we've gone through money, interest, prospecting, delivery, logistics. All it depends on your product, what you've got. Now you've got everything. Now we know it's just the finance director. Cool. So then you recap. Okay, so we've covered this. We're good there, right? Yeah. Now you know all you need to do is sort the finance director. Now, this is your own fault because you should have pre-qualified them properly on this anyway, right? This is a pre-qual problem. But now we're in the sale, we have to address it, we have to fix it. You also need to put a little note in your head, change our question, change our pre-qual to make sure this happens. Never again. Or if it does, how we do it. So then you just handle that objection. So that means you need to either get them in on the call with you, or whatever it is. Make sense?
That's awesome. That's so much information that we can just use for lowball. Now, I wanna stem from that question though, because there are people who you realize it's just not a good client or a good customer, or they're not going to be a good fit. Have you ever walked away from a lucrative or potentially lucrative sales deal because you felt like that? Like, this is not going to be a good client.
Think
They're
about
too
what
nosy.
Depends on the product you sell, but with coaching especially, a service-based product, 100% you can have product people out there. And I'll give you an example of the way this can quite simply work. So with the coaching I do now, so I have an online platform. Now, that's not a big deal. There's no bad clients really on the platform. For example, say if you're a terrible client, or only a terrible client in certain areas. Say you want to learn, but you're a bit of a pain. You talk forever. And literally, if I get like, you call me every minute, like you're always messaging me, asking me questions. If you've got access, if the product is you just having access to the platform, there's 400 videos, 24 hours worth of content. It's all interactive. You can do it from your phone, your tablet. That doesn't matter. As long as the platform's working, you're buying access to that. So if you email me, can I ask you a question? That's all on the platform, blah, blah, blah. If you want to upgrade to coaching, we can speak, right? But if this person's on coaching, that's a problem, client. Because then they're messaging me every day. Oh, well, I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do this. How do I do this? And if they're messaging you 8 times a day, I have things in place that my clients get my time. Like we said earlier, I love what I do. Like, I genuinely enjoy it. So if I've got, I was speaking to a client yesterday, and we were chatting on the phone. So we were doing our training because we're doing all the processes at the start for automated text and this, that, and the other. She messaged me a question now, obviously not when we're on podcast, but later. And she sent me a WhatsApp, hey, blah, 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 blah. I'd answer that straight away. But imagine if she messaged me 8 times today, 10 times today, 15 times, and she's doing it every day. The value of the work you're putting into that client might not equate to what you're charging. If you've got someone who's buying, if you sell iPhones and you've got a shop that sells phones, imagine if they sent back a phone every week saying it's faulty. Every week. Now you've sent them 40 phones. What are iPhones? £1,000, £1,200. The potential on revenue loss is far greater than that one client. No, but is that? And there's some people that listen to stuff and they're like, "Oh, it's so unfair if it's faulty." I'm not saying if it's faulty, that's my problem because it's my problem. My product's faulty. But if it's just the fact that people are, "Oh, the battery's really slow," but actually it's not. If the internet doesn't work, then actually it does. But it gets to the stage, you're going to say, "I don't think that my fit's good for you," or you have to have rules in place, and that's also what comes with experience. And you recap it. If you get the sense, if I get the sense with someone where I do meetings for, especially with Zooms now, for businesses, for their sales team, and I had an agreement with a company that I would do one sales meeting a week. They wanted it on a Monday, and they wanted it from 9 to 10. So that's in my calendar. Block that every week. So 8:45, I'd have nothing before 9:15. So it's an hour and a half of my day is booked out every Monday. Now they're quite a big client, so it's good, and it's a good time for me, and I enjoy it. It's a good meeting. Suddenly we're like, right, we've changed it. We want to do meetings every day. Okay, cool. Here's the invoice. What do you mean? We want it every day. We don't want to pay more. Hang on. So the agreement was we're doing an hour's sales call every Monday. Plus, you've got access to the platform. Plus, I'm writing a few scripts and handles for you as well. That was the agreement. Yeah, I know, but we need more. Okay, cool. So pay more. But imagine if I'm going to train you every day. So we're going to go from 1 hour a week to 5 hours a week, 4 hours a month to 20 hours a month. But you want to get the same. He's like, well, yeah. He said, well, we're already your client. I said, but you don't own me. Like, I want to help you, but you also want me to do this every day, so you're bringing more business in. So we end up having this interesting conversation about it. And he was very much like, he felt that I was, I mean, this guy's great. Listen, the company's brilliant, in case of this. And they are a great company. But it's also very easy. But once we get familiar with people, once we get used to dealing with people, we think we can get more. I've got guys that do my ads, and I message them sometimes a lot, and they must be like, oh, shut up, Dave. Because I'm excitable. And then I message them and go, listen, I'm really sorry. No, I've been harassing you boys for the last few days. It's not going to continue. We'll do this, and I'll sort you out a bit of extra money for that. And they're like, listen, don't worry, because that's fine. It's give and take sometimes. You can't suddenly be at the back and call of everyone all the time if that's not what your agreement was. But again, if you don't have an agreement in place, it's hard to do. So yeah, in short, there are bad clients, but I also think it's down to your own lack of preparation. There are some you won't want, but you have to work out the value of a client. If you're a small business and you don't have a lot of business out there, actually, what will that client bring? If you look after that client right, and you say to him, listen, I'm going over and above with you, but this isn't the norm. You have to tell them. I don't mind doing this. And I want you to realize you're getting me on my A game and more than other people because I don't have a lot of business. But what I'm going to ask for a return is actually you go and tell your friends and your business partners about this so that I actually can get more business from it. Is that fair? Because then that's good. Because then their hassle is rewarded. If you're just getting hassled, imagine if your neighbour's just banging on the wall every day. That's annoying, right? Well, what about if they were going to buy your house for 30% above asking price in 6 months? You'd put up with the banging on the wall because you're only there for 6 more months, so you're going to make loads of money. Every time they bang on the door, you just think of it as how much money you're making. So what seems like a hassle can sometimes be a reward. And also what seems like a reward can also sometimes look like a hassle.
That's awesome. I'm learning a lot. I'm sure you guys, especially those of you entrepreneurs and leaders in sales, have gotten already a huge boatload of value from this. And as Dave mentioned earlier, and as I like to say, if you don't pay, you don't pay attention. But I hope you guys have been paying attention and have been taking notes. This episode is partnered up with Armoury.ph. Armoury is an online watch store and is the exclusive distributor of the brands TW Steel, Dion Milano, Fonderia, Luminox, and Mondane in the Philippines. Yes, folks, those are Italian watch brands. If you are looking to buy your next go-to luxurious everyday watch, go to Armoury.ph and enter the coupon code LS30. Armoury.ph delivers straight to your doorstep with a security tape to make sure that your package is safe from theft, arrives on time, and is guaranteed working 100%. Go to Armoury.ph and buy your first luxury watch today.
It depends. You just have to honestly compare the different investments. A lot of the challenges kasi with young people that I see, they keep talking about it. They don't actually put in the time and try